Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Just Seen podcast. And as you've seen from the title, today we're getting back into entrepreneurship a little bit. This episode is going to be like simultaneously entrepreneurship, but also just reality as a whole. Um, it's been a while since I did anything in the entrepreneurship vein, so I want to tap back in, let y'all know we still rocking. You feel me? I don't know which episode this is. It's got to be like 20 something, I guess. I don't know. But as you've seen from the title, is EntrepreNEGUS the learning phase, right? And I feel like this is a very, very important topic because in life as a whole, the education system, the school system, whatever we want to call whatever, however, our learning experience here is fucked up. It's fucked up and tainted, and it keeps us from learning what we're supposed to learn. So, um, like I be doing one-on-one sessions and shit with my students as far as mastering the market goes. So when I get a one-on-one session, one thing that I'm learning now to tell all of my students is eliminate the fact that you got to get it right now. You feel me? When I used to do, well, I still do them, but when I do my sessions on like chakra clearance, spiritual awakening, and things of that nature, it's like I would always tell people, for one, don't try to answer any question for what you think I want to hear. Right? That was one aspect of it because I understand the program. And I asked them, yo, what does this mean? Well, they'll try to regurgitate the answer that they think is going to appeal to me. And I'm like, is that right? You tell me if it's right. You feel what I'm saying? That was one dynamic. Then now with the trading and everything like that, when I'm teaching that, I'm telling people, well, don't try to get it the first time. That's why you fuck up. And that's why a lot of people get overwhelmed. And that's why a lot of people fail in learning and developing their mind. I'm big on the mind. I talk a lot of shit about the mind, power. The mind is belief, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. It's like the reason why I'm able to learn and obtain the information and retain the information that I get is not because I'm some super computer and shit. You put it in one time, I got it. Like, no, I experience shit so much it doesn't leave my memory. So I don't have to memorize it. So with that being said, I don't learn things on the first time. I don't even attempt to try to learn something on the first time and try to memorize it. I try to make sure I spend enough time with it to where I learn it fluently. You feel what I'm saying? And that's something that I've seen hinders a lot of entrepreneurs because we're trying to approach entrepreneurship from an employee perspective. We're created to be employees. We're not created to be entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs are free thinkers. You have to use your mind. Employees go to school. We're trained from kindergarten up to sit in a certain place for 8 hours a day, do the exact same thing. And if you put these functions in, this will work, but you have to be able to get it right on the first try. Who's going to be proficient enough to get it right on the first try? You feel what I'm saying? Because those are the quote unquote people that are going to, create the competition for the job. You feel me? But the competition for the job is based off of experience and ethic, but it's largely based off of how much they're going to be willing to pay you. Low key, they set us up because they're not going to be paying the A students. They're not willing to pay the A students what they could pay a C student to, save budget and still get the job done. You dig what I'm saying? Like, you just got to be good enough. You feel me? But I'm saying that because when it comes to entrepreneurship, and it said, but life as a whole, those are the two biggest hindrances for your success in the process of actually investing in yourself to grow. So we would rather, let me get it done now. And it's like, if I can't get it the first time, it's not for me. The way the mind works, you were never supposed to get anything right the first time. No baby stood the fuck up the first time it decided to walk and walked and never fell again. Hell, your motherfucking ass probably tripped last week. Or damn near stumbled down some steps or something. You feel what I'm saying? And you've been walking all your life. And you're still learning how to walk better. And I think people forget what learning is. People think that once you have learned something, you don't have to revisit it again. We learned walking, we still learn to walk better every day. And we learn to walk differently every single day. If you're sitting down for a long period of time and now your back's starting to hurt a little bit, so now you're going to walk a different way. If you got damages and your leg or something's hurt, you're going to limp. There's a way in which your body has to learn how to move, how to walk in every capacity throughout the duration of your life. But we don't pay attention to the fact that we learned how to walk early on one time. You feel what I'm saying? But we've been walking all of our lives. Some of us, more or less. You feel me? So when we're looking at the learning phase from that perspective and why we get hindered and why we give up so quick and why we can't, it's solely because of those 2 points of one being that we feel and we believe that we have to get it right the first time. You know what I'm saying? And two, we have to give the exact answer that quote unquote the teacher wants to hear. And I'll break all of that shit down as we go forward. But for now, we're gonna take a quick break, and we're gonna take a quick break. So be sure to follow me at Instagram at _just_sing_. Be sure to check out my website at IamJustSing.com to get all things that are just seen. To all those who tip, donate, and sponsor the podcast, you are greatly appreciated. To all those who would like to tip, donate, and sponsor the podcast, you can do so by clicking the link in the description of your podcast. Not this episode, but the podcast itself. Cash App and PayPal are just fine. And as always, that's that for this and that's this for that. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to dive into EntrepreNEGUS, whatever number we're on at this time. I feel like it's in the 20s. But shit, I don't know. But we're going to dive into EntrepreNEGUS, the learning phase. And don't forget to visit IamJustSing.com. There, you can get all things Just Sing. You want to add the So For Real series to your library? Visit IamJustSing.com. You want to learn how to master the markets for serious trading and investing? Visit IamJustSing.com. You want to get your hands on some exclusive merch like tees, hoodies, coffee mugs, hats, bags? Visit IamJustSing.com. Are you thinking about transitioning into the plant-based lifestyle? Visit IamJustSing.com. You ever want to just chat with Sing about anything from simple advice to mentorship? Visit IamJustSing.com. Anything and everything that is me, you can find at IamJustSing.com. So take a quick peek into my world to see why being just seen is nothing less but always more. Because you never really know what you need until you see it, and you will never see it unless you visit IamJustSing.com. All right. Welcome back, and we are on EntrepreNEGUS 16. I don't know why I thought 20s because maybe impromptus are up there, but EntrepreNEGUS 16, the learning phase. And so, yeah, we're, without further ado, let's just get straight into it. So we have the two ways in which we think we have to learn. First off, we had to get it right the first time. You feel me? And the second off, we have to give the answer that wants to be, heard. This is why when I talk about when I was in undergrad and people used to freak out over the fucking study guide, because they would always ask, and I heard this for the first time when I was in the 5th grade. You feel me? A student asked the teacher, "What do you want us to know for the test?" Right? And so that's basically all that mattered. Not know the material because this is some shit you're gonna be able to use in your life later, but know it just so you could pass the test. You feel what I'm saying? That's what fucks up our learning phase. And it fucks with our capacity and our ability to actually learn successfully and healthily, right? So if you peep the way the game plays itself out, right? What do you learn and how well do you learn in this world? And are you really learning? Because, and that's just it, I'm tying this to the EntrepreNEGUS episode because it's like, that's one of the biggest factors that fucks a lot of people up. You feel me? Like I know people who would ask me like, "Yo, how'd you learn this shit that fast?" I didn't learn shit that fast. Like as far as let's look at, say hitting it raw, right? In order for me to write the book and create the course, people are like, "Yo, how did you learn that shit that fast?" I didn't. I've been studying science since I was a kid. You feel me? Some of the little bit of information came later, but I dove into it because anytime I learn something new, I don't try to go into it as if I got to just go over it one time. I submerge myself in it and I keep staying with it. You feel me? And it's also not for a duration of time. If I know that something is going to be a lifelong thing, I continue to educate myself with it on and on and on and on and on. You feel what I'm saying? But that dynamic, like I said, when we go back to the school system, that's how they teach us. Get it right now. And you have no choice but to get it right then because the school, it progresses, it keeps going. You feel me? That's why you have a syllabus to say, okay, mentally prepared, this is what we're going to do, right? So if you don't get the first 2 weeks, you're going to fail the course. You're going to fail the course. I mean, you can get lucky, you feel me, still pass. But I mean, in the grand scheme of it all, you're going to fail the course. When it comes to what you have to recall and what you have to understand when you go into the, 3-4 years, are you going to remember what you learned your freshman year in college? Fuck no. 10-20 years, are you going to remember what you learned your sophomore, junior year in college? No. But if you understand the material because you submerge yourself in it so motherfucking much, it's going to work itself out. Same shit with entrepreneurship. You feel me? Same shit with entrepreneurship. It puts you in a space where you have to always be willing to continue learning the same thing, no matter how many times you've seen it. Oh, I read this book one time. Now I got to keep going. Like, no, you got to go back and read that material again. Go back and watch that webinar. Go back and watch that video. And I'm tying that because when I look at my students, right, the ones that are in the master market, the successful ones, they're the ones that kept going back and say, yo, I missed this point. How? Because you're trying to memorize this shit. Don't. Feel me? I got a student who just enrolled right now, and they're like, it's overwhelming because I'm not getting it right the first time. You're not gonna get it the first time. I don't create the content for you to get it the first time. I create it for you to get it, however long it needs you to take. You feel me? But I know it's going to take at least a week to get each module for you to sit with it and process it. What a lot of people don't do is when I open up the module, right? Let's say I open it up on a Sunday for the person. Now they have 7 days to constantly review it. They won't come back to that material again until the next one opens up. Why? Because school teaches us like that. We've been programmed to go through school like, don't worry about it again until it shows itself again. So during the week, they're not going through it. They're not just, they're trying, they'll get to a point where, oh, okay, now I'm a cram all in one day rather than eat pieces along the way and retain them and constantly go over the shit. You feel what I'm saying? So I know people that's like the whole course. I got students who the whole course material is open right now because they waited for so long. But all the course material is open, but they've only gone through the points of the candle. And because it wasn't open, you feel me? They're just like, okay, I'm just gonna wait. I'll do it all at one time. All of my students, I even had the ones that are exposed to Forex before. You feel me? And this is one of the reasons why I changed this shit. It's like I'm not doing one-on-one sessions unless you have the course and you have gone through at least the first 8 weeks. Because I fucked up with that. Where I was telling people, all right, bam, I'll go ahead and do a one-on-one. And they're like, yo, just open all the content for me. They want to cram. You cannot hear me well. This is a shameless, it ain't even a shame. It is a shameless plug, but hear me well. Mastering the market, the course is a culmination of, at this moment, 7 years of my experience, 7 years of doing the same shit. 7 years of learning and overcoming and going over the same shit, same obstacles, right? So I got this one-on-one session right now. Our shit is so fucking raw. Like the shit is so fucking raw with this shit. I got him where he can see the different positions of the market just off of correlating charts. That eliminates so much analysis that he has to do. And I showed him how to translate it to the stock market, crypto. It doesn't matter. You feel what I'm saying? But in that, it's like he was like, I got to constantly remind him. He's like, yo, bro, I'm not getting it that fast. Okay, take your time. Like, you feel what I'm saying? Like I set him up to do his first set of correlation. He was like, bro, it's taking longer than I anticipated. All right, now you just know that you need more time. I was like, I'm not just going to dismiss you because you didn't do it like this time and you didn't get it, but you anticipated that you were going to be able to get it the first time. You're not. You're not. You feel me? I 100%, I say I mastered correlation a year and a half ago. 2 years. Matter of fact, the 2 years ago, 2020, roughly about, that's when I mastered correlation. You feel me? That's when I 100% had correlation down in the pocket. And I was like, okay, now I can add it to the course. You feel me? I've been doing this shit since 2015. Studying and learning it, right? So the point that I'm making is that because we're wired and programmed to get it right the first time, it keeps us from getting it right at all. Because we'll try to pick and choose little pieces and, okay, I got to go do this. I got to do this. And now when we add that to our entrepreneurship, that's the biggest thing that hurts us. Because the people that I like learning from are the people who teach me and I don't get it the first time. I love learning from people like that. If I get it the first time, I don't trust it. Now, I don't know funny shit. And I mean, because I know I process information a lot faster. But even still, if I get it the first time, there's no depth to it. This ties into lexicons. This ties into those previous episodes about, if I can understand everything at this point, it's not as challenging for me and I don't want to do it anymore. But if every time I'm looking at it, it's like, I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is. The more I don't knows I have, the longer I'm going to stick with something to where there's no question about it. So tying it back into mastering the market, because this does apply and it's tied this to the one-on-one session that I'm having with my student. I'm looking at it from the perspective of, I want you to get it, bro. I don't want you to get it right now. Like, I want you to get the shit. You feel me? I want you to get it so well that you can be how I am with this shit. To where no matter what is happening, I can literally, like, we were doing analysis and I was breaking down a chart and I was telling him, like, look, this is the setup. You feel me? We know which direction it's going to go in. Wait about 12 hours and your trade is set up. Right? You feel me? I'm getting him used to seeing it how I see it. And it's like, yo, bro, it literally did exactly what you said you was going to do. But this is because I've sat with it so long. You feel me? You can't sit with it for a week, 2 weeks, and think you're going to get every experience that I have, every market turn, every spike out, I've got a lot of those to where I can spot what's going to happen before it happens because of the familiarity of what's going on. Right? Tying that to a bigger scale, a lot of motherfuckers are not going to be successful as entrepreneurs because when it comes to learning, they think they got to get it right the first time. So they don't spend time with the shit that they're supposed to spend time with long enough to make it manifest itself. I know people that have dropped podcasts because they would say shit like, oh, everybody think they like the way I talk. They think I should do a podcast. Start a podcast, don't make it past 3 episodes. Feel me? Because what it takes to keep your mind focused on that is required for you to learn it, which means you got to experience something a certain amount of time. When you get to the point where you got to do extra work that you don't know how to do, hear me well. A confused mind will always say no. If a motherfucker can't figure the shit out, they're either going to say no or they're going to make an excuse as to why they can't do it right now. That's a confused mind. When a mind is clear, it's a no-brainer. It makes sense. You feel what I'm saying? When you get a person to a point where something can make sense with them, they'll listen to you. You feel me? But if you are still confusing them, you feel me? Oh, it sounds like it makes sense. That's off. This what I've had conversations on podcast episodes where I was talking about resonance. How people are like, yo, that resonate with me. But what does it mean? I don't know. It can't resonate. It cannot resonate with you if you don't know. You just believe what the fuck it said because you trust the source. You're not necessarily understanding of the information. You trust the source presenting the information. So you're going to say it resonates. No, what you just said to me feels good to me because I know you didn't come from a certain point. That's why it's levels to the mind: belief, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Understanding is the level that you get to when you stuck with something long enough. A short amount of time, you're just going to believe it. That is doable. You feel me? This is going to be like a kind of low-key a mastering the market kind of webinar, but low-key with mastering the market, it's like I've spent enough time with it to where when I'm able to give and disseminate the information, it's like I know what has to be given to who, to what part, and then what part of the understanding you're in. You feel what I'm saying? Because my goal is to, when you approach me with mastering the market, your focus is, okay, I believe that Forex, stocks, crypto can be done and I can make money in it. That's the belief, right? You're at point A, the belief that it can be done. I'm at point, I'm going to say D, just because we have 4 points to it. I'm at point D, which is the understanding of why it can be done. So this is where you get belief and understanding will be equivalent to beginner's luck and veterans experience. I got an episode on that too, right? Beginner's luck. I want to say that's an EntrepreNEGUS episode, but I'm not sure. But you have beginner's luck and you have veterans experience. Beginner's luck and veterans experience ultimately yield the same result. The difference is beginner's luck does not have the experience that the veterans experience have, right? You're going to get the same outcome in the moment, but the veterans experience is going to be able to replicate the process. Beginner's luck isn't. Beginner's luck is just, I know that this happened. You feel me? So when you're in a situation where beginner's luck hits you a lot, beginner's luck hits a lot of motherfuckers this is dope. Beginner's luck is directly tied to. Beginner's luck is directly tied to the school system because you got to get it right the first time. Motherfuckers really think they smart solely because they were able to get something right the first time and remember it and hold on to it. They got rewarded. They got the A, whatever. It's designed that way because motherfuckers really didn't understand the shit. So imagine getting beginner's luck all your life to where every time you get an A and shit, just because you getting that A just meant that you got the material right then. You feel me? That's cool. That's what you're supposed to do. But you memorize it. That is what beginner's luck is like. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah, you get the good shit, but do you really know why you got it? You feel me? Motherfuckers will say, I got an A on this test because I studied, rather than I got an A on this test because I knew what the fuck was happening. That's the difference between beginner's luck and veteran's experience. I studied enough to memorize what was necessary for me to be proficient in this test, rather than I understand this material so well, I don't give a fuck what test you give me. It's different. You feel me? Making a parallelism with trading. This is why, like, people say, I'm only going to trade, or I'm going to look at Tesla. I'm going to look at this, or I'm going to do Forex. I'm going to do this because this is where I have to stay, because they don't understand that you can do this anywhere you go. Understanding the issue to that point, belief makes you choose which one you want to do. I always ask people, do y'all want to do Forex? Well, Forex might be too hard. I don't want to lose this. I do stocks because it's safer. Honestly, they're all the same. It's the same safety and same risk across the board. However, it's all in whether or not you understand what's going on. So like I said, you got that beginner's luck, it starts to fuel you, gives you beginner's luck, creates arrogance. Veterans experience leads to confidence. This is why the two things can be simultaneously expressed, because a lot of people be expressing veterans experience. It's crazy how people can express beginner's luck and motherfuckers will follow that and be like, okay, that motherfucker know what they're doing. But veterans experience has a different calm about it because there's confidence behind it. So motherfuckers will doubt veterans experience, but immediately trust beginner's luck because beginner's luck is vibrant. Veterans experience, I've been in it too long. I'm not gonna have the same tenacity to make you feel enjoyable about the shit, but I'm gonna show you how to get it right. You feel what I'm saying? That beginner's luck is like, oh my gosh, you can do this. I had beginner's luck when I first started investing in shit. Had a lot of beginner's luck, but I knew that this was not sustainable. I knew beginner's luck was not sustainable. I could not just have hit or misses. You dig what I'm saying? I needed to have substantial, consistent results. So I worked to understanding it, right? Which means that in my learning phase, I went into the process of sitting with something long enough to make it stick. You feel what I'm saying? That's the biggest hindrance within the learning phase of entrepreneurship. A lot of people get into it, they don't stay in it long enough to make it stick. This is why they get to the points of, yo, my family don't support my business. My family don't do this. And your family's not supposed to. That's not your target audience. You would know that if you delve deeper into the learning phase of what it takes to learn to do everything you're doing. Just on a simple level. I used to sell cars. So when I tell people, when people is like, yo, I want a payment of this. This is when I understood. This is when I began to understand the conceptualization of what I'm talking about now without understanding it, without having the words to say it. Like, I would ask people, what do you want your payment to be? They'd be like 500 for my car, right? Let's say 500 for the car. Makes sense. I'm not tripping at that. That's what you want. You can afford it. You can pay it. However, are you paying 500 for the car as the piece of machinery or everything the car represents? You don't want to go over 500. That changes how you're budgeting things, right? Because let's say I don't want to pay over 500 for my car, but does this factor in your insurance, your gas, your routine maintenance, and everything in that regard for a month's time frame? Most motherfuckers will say no. The car is what I'm going to pay 500 for. In addition to paying another 175 for the car insurance, in addition to paying another $150 a month for the gas, in addition to paying whatever these things that I'm paying. Now, off the other side, and this is how I learned this concept. I'm gonna break it down. But then from the other side of that, you have those people say, I don't want any more than a $500 payment, including my insurance. So let's say my insurance is going to be 125. Take that off of the 500, which means now I'm at a 375 payment. I don't want to be over $375 for my car, which means now I know to move down to a lower car, right? Or a used car, something that's, you know what I mean? Or I'm gonna have to put more money into it as far as a down payment in order to get into this point to work the deal. There's different dynamics of shit that has to play into that. You feel what I'm saying? And that's what it's like when you're in that learning phase and you're trying to get it right the first time. You feel me? You're trying to get it right the first time. So now you're having to be more reactive than proactive, right? And I learned this because when I used to sell cars, I can tell direct, like people with low credit, not on no disrespectful shit to them, but typically people with low credit will go for the payment of the car. But I noticed the people that were in the highs, it's like, yo, this is what I want my payment to be because of this. I want all of this to be. I was like, oh, y'all think about it different, but y'all have a different learning experience with the process. You dig what I'm saying? Most people who buy cars, more people buy cars than people sell cars. However, the salesman will ultimately sell more cars than you will buy in a lifetime. Think about that. People buy more cars than cars are being, you know what I'm saying? People buy more cars on a regular basis. But the mentality of, if I know how to buy a car, knowing how to buy a car is different than buying a car. Now they're trying to make so much shit easy. Like, oh, we take, you got Carvana and shit. We take the car buying process. You still need to know the car buying process and the full depths of what's going on. So when you see the curves and you see the loopholes and shit, like, bam, can I really fuck with this? You feel me? But that salesman, you'll come into the salesman and say, okay, in your lifetime, you'll probably buy about 5 cars. That salesman will sell more than 5 cars in a month's time. Who do you think you should be learning from? You dig what I'm saying? Like, I recently just bought my car, right? I just bought another car. Well, new car. Okay. Look, I just recently bought my car, right? So in buying it, people are like my siblings, my mom, they are still seeing the son and the baby brother because I'm the youngest. So they're still seeing it like, did you check the Carfax? Did you do this? Did you do that? Did you make sure you test drove it? Did you push it? Y'all, I used to sell cars. I don't like you feel me? I've sold more cars than y'all bought in a lifetime collectively. Like, no bullshit. Like, I can count how many cars my mom has had. I can count how many cars my brothers had. I can count how many cars my sisters had. And collectively, I've sold more cars than that in the time that I sold cars than they bought. Our process is different. Our understanding is different. So my learning phase is different than that because I had to sit with it differently. You feel me? When you're going to buy a car, you feel me? You only sitting with the fact that you're looking at considering a payment, like you're looking at one side of things that you have to learn. But when you're selling them, it's a totally different process. You're looking at it from a perspective of, what does it take to get this deal done? How much money has to go down? How much money is this? Like, this is a little tidbit. It's random, but it's going to benefit you in the future if you're buying cars. The average amount of financing per thousand, to get roughly about what car payment is going to be, your payment is going to be about $20 to $25 per $1,000 financed. This is any credit. That's why I use 20 to 25. Between $20 to $25 per $1,000 you finance. So off rip, if you tell yourself, I don't want any more than $250 payment, you need a $10,000 car. But I want a brand new car. You're not gonna get a brand new car with a $250 payment. It don't work. It don't work. It won't work unless you're putting at least half down to get the deal done. As far as which motherfucker, when I used to sell cars, motherfuckers would come in. I don't want to put any money down. I want this expensive car. I want my payment here. Nigga, that don't work. It don't. You can make it work. No, I can't. The farthest we can go out is 78 months. 72 months is what, 5 years or 6 years? Is it 7? No, 72 months. Yeah, because 84 months is 7 years. So 72 is 6 years. So 72 months is 6 years. Most motherfuckers ain't gonna be willing to let you pay for a car for 6 years. Motherfuckers don't know that shit. That factors into the payment. Well, if we extend the term, will my payment get lower? And yes, it will get lower, but you'll pay more over the long run of it. You feel what I'm saying? But motherfuckers come in with that mentality of, because they don't know. They haven't spent enough time with something to learn that. You feel what I'm saying? So this is why I tell people, you can be talking about the same thing and not talking about the same thing. Tying it back to like when me buying the car, Motherfuckers like, yo, why you didn't tell nobody? I didn't need to tell nobody. Now, I don't know, ask for permission shit. It's like, but you can't help me walk through the car buying process. This is literally no disrespect towards my family, towards my people. None of the people that have said, yo, you should have hit me up, blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? Why you ain't telling them? I don't need to tell nobody when I know more than what the person I'm going to be telling about. Because all I'm going to do is tell you I'm going to buy a car. Well, make sure you're going to tell me to make sure you do the shit within the confines of the lexicon that you have. I'm in a whole different lexicon regarding this type of information. You feel what I'm saying? For me, the words in which you know that maybe, oh, check the Carfax, check this, that, and the third. Like, I know. Make sure the VIN numbers, man. I know. I sold these motherfuckers, so I know the backside of the shit. You feel what I'm saying? So that comes in because, like I said, this now ties into why our learning phase is fucked up. I'm using the car example because it works, because we study, we lock in for what we need for this one particular time. You're not going to buy another car for another 6 years. Probably 3 if you trade yours in, but for the most part, you're not going to buy another car for another 6 years until that one gives up, right? So I said people ain't going to buy no more than 4 or 5 cars in a lifetime. You feel me? I was selling like 10, 12 cars a month. Like, the numbers don't make sense. Like, in your lifetime, I've sold more cars in a month's time than you will buy in a lifetime. It's different. So, but when we're on the other side in the masses, this is why learning is so hard, because when we can talk to motherfuckers who don't know what we don't know the depths of what it is. Like, you got the 4 phases of the mind. This is a different 4 phases, all right? You got the 3 modalities of the mind: conscious, subconscious, unconscious. You got the 4 levels of the mind: belief, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And then you have the 4 phases of, I ain't gonna say the mind, the 4 phases of information, right? So you have known knowns, known unknowns, unknown knowns, and unknown unknowns, right? You have the shit that you know you know. You have the shit that you know that you don't know. You have the shit that you don't know that you know. And then you have the shit that you don't know that you don't know, basically. You feel what I'm saying? Most motherfuckers spend time with known knowns, and they only talk to motherfuckers who reestablish the known knowns. You feel what I'm saying? So with the car buying example, motherfuckers like, yo, I bought a car before. Does that mean you know how to buy a car? You feel me? Same principle. Just because you bought a car, does that mean you know how to sell one? No, it don't. It means you know how to buy one, which means that your limited information as to the full dynamic of what it takes to buy a car fully. You feel me? Same shit with a house. I'm not gonna, no funny shit. I would take the advice from somebody who's bought a house before. Don't get me wrong. And I'll take the collective of multiple people who bought houses, but I will not listen to that. I will not take that as serious as a motherfucker who sold houses. You feel me? I got an auntie in real estate. You feel me? And she be killing. I think she closed on, like, from what I see, when I catch it, I'd say it's like about 2 to 3 houses. 2 to 3 houses in a month's time. Same principle with me in the car. Just like, yo, you sell this many houses. Most motherfuckers ain't buying 2, 3 houses in a lifetime, on average. You feel me? And you're selling that many in a lifetime. That's powerful. You're gonna know some shit that I don't know. You feel me? So I need to sit with that. You feel me? Now bringing it back into that mentality of going into, oh, I'm going to buy a car, rather than somebody who knows how to sell them, because they're on the other side of that. You feel me? When it comes to like trading and investing, this is what gets a lot of my students, even with our spiritual conversations, a lot of people come into this perspective of, I got to get all of this shit right the first time. And not only that, I have to know what you know. You don't have to know what I know. You have to experience what I experience. You feel me? Because I can give you all of this shit. So it's like I said, when I be giving, asking them, like, so tell me about, like, give me this answer. Like, I'll be asking them, okay, break down the root chakra for me. And they'll be like, well, once they take that breath, they're gonna give me the answer they think I want to hear. And I fuck with them every time. They be like, well, the root chakra is, let me see, its foundation is blocked by fear. It's representative of the color red, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, now what do you think the root chakra? But they be like, is that right? You tell me. Well, that's what you had said, but is it right? Well, I mean, you said, And I'm like, my thing is like, because it ultimately leads into me being able to teach them about the mind. It's like, see, this is the point that I'm trying to get you to, the understanding, rather than just staying at the mind level of belief, because you're worried about what I said, not what is. You feel me? You tell me what the root chakra is, right? How do you process and understand the root chakra? What is it like? And then when they go into the actual learning, they're like, I don't remember. I'm like, don't try to remember. No. It's like when you understand the root chakra, what blocks it, and you understand it so well, you don't have to, your answer is going to change. There's still like to this, like you can't, when people can give a consistent answer the same way every time, that is a memory. That is it. Okay, I'm gonna say like it's either a memory or it's a definition, because those two things won't change, right? For the most part. But when people have to get to a point where I have to give it to you exactly this way, and they can't change it up in any way, shape, or form, that is because they feel bound to that. They don't really understand it. They believe what they're saying, and this is the point of what they're saying that they believe. You feel me? But when you understand, you can fluctuate at will as to what you want your situation to be like and what you want the expression to be. But that's because you have spent enough time with the learning phase. You have gone through the trenches to say, you know what? I'm going to learn this for real. I'm not going to try to memorize it. I'm going to spend as much time as I need to, because I cannot get it right the first time. Whatever it is, don't look at it as I got to get this right the first time. Never look at anything you're learning for the first time as a point of you learning it for the first time. I mean, needing to have it right the first time you learn it. No, no. We live in mentalities where we say shit like you don't get a second chance to make a first impression. True. You don't. You don't. But sometimes we gotta stop, again, lexicons. We gotta start creating our own lexicons, stop leaving shit off. I'm not saying anything's left over that quote, or just running with what's there. When you hear the phrase, you don't get a second chance to make a first impression, you don't even fathom that your third impression can completely erase your first one. Sit with that. Most motherfuckers don't put that shit together, that I can have an impression that erased the first impression that I have. So motherfuckers think I gotta be on point the first time. No, get comfortable. Get comfortable. So your impression can't change when it does hit. You feel what I'm saying? I don't want anybody to have a first impression of me. Like fuck that. Like no, have one. But the first impression that you have of me is just gonna be me. Like it is what it is. Then you're gonna start, oh damn. You feel me? Because off rip, if you don't like my first impression, it don't matter. Like nothing else matters. But now I have to behave a certain way. I don't get to be. No, I don't give a fuck if you don't like my first impression, second impression. There's motherfuckers I know right now who have started off. You feel me? It wasn't until my fourth, fifth, and sixth impression of me that they was like, I see what you doing now. Damn, you different. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, I get you. But that impression doesn't mean that I had to stop. I didn't have to get the impression right the first time. That's what fucks people up. My first job, my first job that I ever had in my life, I got hired when I was 16 years old. It was August 2016. Yep. I got my first job August 2016. I had applied at this exact same job since I was 13 years old. Every year. So when I applied at 16, he was like, bro, he said, I've watched you grow up. He said, you've come in here every year to get a job and you were always too young. He said, I got to hire you, bro. He said, I got to hire you just off of that alone. You feel me? My first impression was that I was too young, but the impression that erased that was one, my determination, one, my persistence, and one, my consistency. Those things erased the first impression that I was too young to work. I was too young to work, so I had to wait until I got to that point. But what I'm saying is that I didn't try to apply. I didn't look at that shit and say, oh, I didn't get applied for this job, so working just ain't for me. Nigga, no. You feel what I'm saying? But we do that with shit that we're supposed to learn. Shit that we learn, we do that with. It's like, I didn't get it the first time. Okay. Did you get it the second time? I'm not even gonna try the second time. Okay. Fuck out my face. Like, I know people right now that are like, when we started the Forex game, we started around the same time. I remember when they was posting their telegrams and get in with this, posting their videos. Then the shit just stopped. And they're asking me why am I still going? I said, because I know this shit. Like, you feel me? I knew I couldn't get this shit the first time. Y'all thought that because you couldn't get it the first time, life is going to keep going on. And now these same people, they're like, yo, if I would have just stuck with it, or if I would have just listened to you and, would have went, because I've offered people to go half on the course material that I learned. I try to barter so much. I've had people where it's like, yo, I just want you to let me teach it to you so I can refine my craft for my class. Oh, nah, I don't think I got the patience to learn. Cool, cool. Now it's why is your shit so high? This is why. I'm great at this shit because I spent the necessary time to learn what needs to be done. That's where my confidence comes in. It's not arrogance. But again, to a motherfucker who can only operate from the level of beginner's luck, that is the belief level of the mind. They operate from beginner's luck, and their beginner's luck is ran out. They can't fathom how you can continue to have veterans experience with this shit. Because beginner's luck and veterans experience are the same thing, except it's just the amount of time spent learning to solidify. You feel what I'm saying? So now it's like, yo, I'm great at this shit. You feel me? I told one of my students, one of my one-on-one students, I said, I can eyeball this market. I've been saying it to him for so long. Now I'm showing him how to eyeball a live market and where it's going to go. He's like, bro, you really do this shit. You feel me? I'm like, yeah, you going to really be doing this shit too. I'm going to show you how easy this shit is. You feel me? Because there's so much more that I had to go into it, but I never stopped learning. I never stopped learning it. You feel me? And then some of us only learn enough to be able to talk to another motherfucker, to be able to act like we're doing something. This is when I have an episode, I forgot which one it was, where I was talking about entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs. And if it's not on here, then it's probably on my YouTube because I did start the EntrepreNEGUS series over there. But a lot of people are warped in the mindset of, I'm going to know enough to talk about it to people that don't know what's going on. Like when I first started my MLM, this was the only reason, the main reason why I didn't stay in it. I was smarter than OG told me. If you're the smartest one in the room and you're not teaching, you're not in the right room. You feel me? I was the smartest. I'm no funny shit. I mean this in the most modesty, but this ties into the episode. You feel me? I'm the smartest man in a lot of rooms I walk in. A lot of rooms I walk in. And that is because of how my learning phase works. I'm willing to sit with shit longer than another motherfucker is. All you keep hearing is get into the markets, but do you trade or do you invest? Should you do stocks, forex, crypto, or NFTs? My personal answer is not a single one if you don't know how to read a chart. Without knowing how to read a chart, you end up giving all your money to those who do. Do you know what a candle is? Do you know the pocket of activity? Do you know the difference between market direction and market control? If you answer no at least once, you might want to learn how to read a chart first. Learning how to read a chart will let you know if you should trade or invest and if you should do stocks, forex, crypto, and or NFTs. It will also let you know if this is even for you or not. So visit IamJustSeen.com to learn how to read charts with my Mastering the Market course, ebooks, and webinars today. The world is changing. The question is, will you adapt with it? You feel me? I have the discipline and the consistency and the capacity to sit with something long enough to truly learn it and know it and understand it than the average person is. You feel me? Because I've broken the stigma of needing to get it right the first time. I just need to get it right. You feel me? That's something that I always, talk about as far as the trading goes. Stop focus the trades, the investments, whatever. Don't focus on right now. Focus on being right. That's what fucks a lot of people up. It's like, I got to make my money right now. No, you have to make your money right. You feel me? You have to know how to read when the market is fully done. Like right now, the time of this recording doesn't mean the time of you hearing this. The time of this recording, there's about to be a market change between cryptocurrencies and the US dollar. US dollar has been strong for a decent amount of time because they've been inflating the shit. Now the shit's about to flip. Crypto about to go up. Motherfuckers are going to miss it because they're going to get in after the fact when crypto already takes off. You feel what I'm saying? You got to get in before it takes off, but you got to be able to understand, which means you got to be able to learn and sit with the markets long enough. You dig what I'm saying? This is with all things in life. They fucked us up so bad, and they don't allow us to sit with shit long enough. So when they say, kids have ADD, ADHD, or whatever, they created it. They create the ADHD that, they bitch about us having and all that other shit because it is about attention deficit. Why is there a deficit in your attention? Because you're not sitting with anything long enough to allow yourself to consume it and hold it. You're moving on too fast. You're moving on to things too fast. And then you're learning, like, think about it. We're learning in school. Let's just look at elementary school. We're learning what, 8 subjects, 7 subjects and shit? Math, science, language arts, music, fucking, I don't know, some other shit, physical education, um, whatever. But we're learning, like we usually have, that's elementary school. You just got one class where you learn all of these subjects. Then you get into middle school, and you have multiple subjects in one day. You see? You don't spend enough time with one thing. Your attention keeps changing throughout the day. You're dividing your attention. How are you going to make a priority when you have 4 things you have to prioritize? And a priority is only one thing. Look up the definition. A priority can only be one thing at a time. But you have 4 things that you have to prioritize, 5 things that you have to prioritize. That's where your mind fuck comes in. Your attention can't be held on one thing because you now lack focus. You now lack focus because you are not learning the things you're supposed to learn. You feel me? Bruce Lee said it best. He said, I don't fear the man who's practiced 10,000 kicks. I don't fear the man who's practiced 10,000 kicks one time. I fear the man who's practiced one kick 10,000 times. That motherfucker gonna kick the fuck out of you. But that motherfucker was willing to learn the full dynamics of the kick that they were willing to use. They spent enough time to where they taken 10,000 kicks with this one kick. They're going to fuck you up. They know what's going to happen when they hit you in your chest. They know what happens when they kick you in your eye, your chin, your shin, your nuts, your back, whatever. They know where to kick you at, where to fuck you up at. The motherfucker who kicked one time has to, oh yeah, bitch, I got 10,000 kicks. I got a front kick, back kick, round kick, side kick, up kick, down kick, yo kick, my kick. You feel me? But when they kick you, you could just grab their leg because they have no power behind the kick and you trip the fuck out of them. Yeah, I got all these kicks, but I can't kick a motherfucker. You feel me? But you got the other side. Bro, I only got one kick, but I will kick the fuck out of you. I will kick a bone out your ass. You feel me? Because I practiced this one kick 10,000 times. You dig what I'm saying? Because of the way the school system works, it promotes us to try to learn something one time. You can't have attention on shit like that. Like your attention doesn't develop because first you get the attention to, again, 4 levels of the mind: belief, knowledge, wisdom, understanding. You have to have the faith or the fear from it. Your attention is tied to whether you have faith in something or fear in something. If off rip you feel like I'm not good at math, you're going to fear that subject. There's no attention you can possibly have in this motherfucker. You can give a motherfucker all of the pills and medicine you want. They can't focus because they fear it. They have no attention. Because they fear it, they can't lock the attention on believing it, which means they can never get to the intention of understanding it because belief, you have to get through the wall of cognitive dissonance, which is the doubt that you can't do something, and then go over to the knowledge and actually learn it, experience it to gain the wisdom, get the creativity from the experience to create the understanding. You feel me? So that way, when you understand it, you can pivot how you want to. You feel me? They teach us just to have faith in the person that's teaching it. And when we don't trust that motherfucker because you're not making sense, I shut down. I no longer have to put my attention into the shit. I don't have faith in the shit. So I will not put attention into it, which means I will never go to the next level. A lot of us stop our learning phase solely because we operate solely from fear and faith. And if we can't get something the first time, we automatically have fear in it. It's too hard. That's why I say fear is the lack of understanding. Faith is the lack of understanding too. But fear is avoiding something that you don't understand. And faith is going towards something that you don't understand. Same shit. Same shit. Here's where it becomes tricky and why it gets dangerous because people think they're learning when they're just reaffirming their belief or something. You feel me? That's the bridge and why motherfuckers don't learn. And motherfuckers, like I got students that are coming into the course like, I'm not getting it the first time because you're not trying to go through the wall of cognitive dissonance. You're trying to memorize the shit and believe it just so you can sound, I know what I'm doing. No. Do you know what you're doing until you know what you're not doing? You feel me? Till you know what you're not doing as well. A lot of us aren't in that capacity simply because we know that we got to get it right the first time. So we trust that what's being presented means I'm going to get it right the first time. A lot of it is arrogance, beginner's luck. Some people got exposed to some shit, made some positive strides in something, and now you got the beginner's luck. But now you got to get the veteran's experience. So when you see the moments when it's not going to be in your favor, you're still able to capitalize on it. You feel me? Veterans experience takes time. Takes time. You're not going to learn what you think you're going to learn in the time that you're learning it because you got to sit with it. You feel me? My students right now, the students in my master in the market course that have successfully, it's a decent amount that have successfully completed and they're in the markets doing their own thing. They keep going back through the content. I can literally see on the backside of my shit how many people have gone through it. The motherfuckers that are not in it, that are, I just don't get it. It's that they're not going through the material. They're stopping because they're not processing it. They're trying to take this bit of information. Now, no, understand this to see why this next phase works. I literally break it up like that. I teach you the candle, how to read a chart, how to set everything up. If you don't know how to read that shit, the rest of the shit's gonna fall. Motherfuckers try to memorize the shit. Okay, I understand. No, understand that a candle is a recordation of events. Don't try to memorize a pattern. Understand what the pattern, the actual movement is telling you. Learn that. Right. So now when we take this to the actual aspect of your entrepreneurship, actual aspect of the things that you got to learn, a lot of motherfuckers don't try to learn it. They try to memorize it. Another important point, let's look at Facebook marketing, right? Social media marketing as a whole. You have the boost, like, you feel me? If you're just the average person and shit, and you don't really pay attention to the full analytics and the dynamics of it, but you'll make a post about, do you want to boost this post? Motherfuckers think that's the ad. You feel me? Motherfuckers literally think that's the ad. And it does advertise. But what it is the level. It's only going to advertise. The boost only advertises for eyes, nothing else. Not for people who are likely to click and purchase. Not for the behaviors of people who will actually save that information. It just shows it. So you start to create a mundane campaign. That's beginner's luck. And I had a moment with that because I sold some books off of a boosted post. But then after that, I couldn't boost any more posts. Well, I could boost them, but then I couldn't sell any more books because it was only showing to the people that I boosted to. Then I learned actual social media marketing. Wasn't just boosting the post. It went from beginner's luck to veteran's experience to where I can duplicate what the beginner's luck is going to give me. I know how to sell a book online. I know how to sell a course online. I know how to sell merch online. Not because I've done something and I sold it. No, I went through the process of the learning phase to sit with everything, learning about pixels, learning about target audiences, learning about detailed audiences, learning about lookalike audiences, learning about exclusions, learning about age demographics, cultural demographics. All of these different things are now like right there. Shit that I ain't know shit about. But now this is where the arrogance comes in, because if I was continuing to boost it and I'm like, yeah, I'm selling like this, I don't really know what the fuck I'm doing. Now, how many motherfuckers have established careers, have established things off of belief, off of beginner's luck? I did this one time and I think I can do it, but I don't want to sit with it to actually learn it. And because you had the beginner's luck and whatever it was clicked at that moment and that's reproducible, you'll stay in that one little vein and won't add or subtract anything else to it. I don't have to learn this because I got this right the first time. That's a fucking lie. Because there's a person that's going to dive deeper into the shit beyond what you went and master it in a way that you couldn't. So now when you show up to the party thinking you're going to talk around them, it's like, mm-mm, the chinks in your armor are going to be heavily revealed. But it's now, what are you going to do with these chinks? Are you going to fill them, or are you just going to say, you know what, this ain't for me, I'm going to put it down? You feel me? This is the biggest. This is the biggest hindrance. I was thinking too fast and I put the words together. Hindrance and biggest. This is the biggest. This is the biggest hindrance that a lot of people face is the entrepreneurship. They don't want to learn. This is a lot of hindrance that people face in life. They don't want to learn. And this is why I was talking about, I got the episode on a big fish in a small pond. This all ties in together with that shit. The EntrepreNEGUS episode on a big fish in a small pond is directly tied to your capacity or ability to want to learn more, push beyond beginner's luck, and move into veteran's experience. Too many people will never reach veteran's experience because of what it actually takes to get there. You have to learn. You have to lose. You have to experience, and you have to take the information. Too many people lose and get frustrated and give up. You feel me? I was talking in one of my sessions to one of my students about, you know, how I can anticipate what's going to happen within the market or whatever the case may be. And it's like, because the experience showed me that I lost on that before. But I didn't just get frustrated. And I was just talking this was dope because I was talking to him about this because in the beginning phases, you have these moments. It's like, I was like, what's the first thing you do when you fail at a trade? I said, when you look at it go against you, you say, yo, what the fuck? He was like, yo, bro, that's what I be saying. He said, but can you answer? But I asked him, but do you know the answer to that question? He was like, I ain't never really think about it. I said, do you know why it went against you? Do you know why you got stopped out? Do you know why? He was like, nah, I never really thought to answer that question. Because I know, because I've been in this space. When you get frustrated and you just like, yo, what the fuck? Now you start revenge trading. You're not even analyzing anymore. You just assuming, okay, I just got to make this money back. You dig what I'm saying? So you're not learning the process of saying, you know what? This happened here. Why? I know how to answer those whys now. Because I answer those whys, I can say, I think I should wait on this because this why could stop me out a little here. So you know what? I think if it's gonna stop me here, let me just wait until it comes down to this price or see if it comes down to that price. When it does and I get the right information, then I can enter. You feel what I'm saying? But that's something that I've learned because it's a process I do called post-trade analysis. I got an episode on post-relationship analysis because that segued into this. Quick tangent. Everything in my life is everything in my life. What I mean by that is there's not a single thing in my life that I can't apply to something else, principally masculine energy. But anyway, there's not a thing that I can't apply to anything. So I apply post trade analysis to like relationships. Go over why this shit went wrong. It seems difficult because you be hurt, heartbroken and shit. But nah, I go back over the relationships that don't work. Why didn't it work? I look at the full. I don't just look at her and be like, yeah, because she was this. No, why did our relationship? Because it was both of us traveling in this motherfucker. Why didn't our relationship work? And then I go over the dynamics of it. Now I'm not okay. I don't do well with this. Simple. You feel what I'm saying? Or I do excellent with this. And I started to pay attention to those things. So now when I calibrate and I go to the next person, I can now find a list of the things that I need more. That's gonna allow for a viable relationship. You feel what I'm saying? So like with trading, I got that from that perspective, the post-trade analysis. That is a part of learning. Evaluation. You feel what I'm saying? Evaluation, reevaluation, going back over the shit that you've gone over and figuring out why. Most motherfuckers will not go back. Fucking in our culture, they call it Sankofa. In the ancient culture, like yo, Sankofa, go back and get it. Go back and fetch it. You gotta go back after you learn something because now you got it from a different perspective. You feel me? Motherfuckers, look, we'll look at school, we'll look at education, learning something, we got to get it right the first time. But we'll play a role-playing video game 18 times back to back. I'm like, oh, it's different. There was something that I can now see that I didn't see before because now I got this unlocked. Nigga, life is like that too when you're learning. You're not going to beat the game fully the first time. You got to come back to the part that you couldn't do until you beat that game, until you learned a lot of the shit that you were supposed to get. Grand Theft Auto, I would say, is one of the best examples of the shit because it's like, there's literally areas locked off that you can't get to until you complete a certain mission. That's what learning is like. There's shit that you'll never see until you unlock a certain point, but you have to be moving and willing to pay attention and chronicleize and keep recordation of the shit that you've experienced in between time. Motherfuckers don't be trying to keep their experiences locked in. You feel me? Or keep their experiences understood. So what we'll do is when we try to learn something, we're like, oh, yo, I got this. And we'll try to memorize it, go to the test or whatever. And then we get tested on, you feel me? This didn't happen this way. This is why I talk about that story of the students that I was in that was mad because they was like, yo, how'd you get an A? Bitch, I know the material. But the study guide wasn't like the test. I don't know what to tell you. They cheated. They weren't supposed to. You were supposed to learn the material. They were supposed to give you material to test you. Fuck if they gave you a study guide and switched it up. They gave you material to test you based off of material you supposed to know that they taught you. It's not their fault you made a choice to believe it. It's not their fault that you chose to, I got to get this right the first time. And then you may have gotten it the first time. And then you didn't go back and dive into it anymore to solidify it because you got it right the first time. So now when more information compounds, you don't even see the connecting pieces between shit sometimes. Like this was supposed to go with this, but you just memorized this and you didn't keep practicing it to see how it segues in here. So now you have one concept that you got the first time, Another concept that you didn't get the first time, but these two concepts are related to each other. But you can't even see the relation because you didn't spend enough time with the learning process to solidify that shit. You dig what I'm saying? When I learn shit, bro, sis, all y'all, I submerge myself into shit beyond so much. Like I learned the lexicons of the shit, the lexicons and actual words that are being used, and I dive into it deeply to learn. Okay, this is what they're talking about here. I don't know what they're talking about. That's the first step of the learning phase. Learning the lexicons, learning the words that are used in this arena, and learning how to communicate that. That's going to help you get the. I'm going to ask this question. I know who to ask, where to ask. There's motherfuckers who will not ask a question because they don't want to look stupid. They'll be like, nah, I ain't gonna ask that question. It's a dumb question. Do you know the answer to it? No. Then it's not a dumb question, motherfucker. There's no such thing as a stupid question. None whatsoever. And the moment you internalize that, oh, my question might be stupid. Do you know that unconsciously, do you know what you just formulated with yourself by believing that you might be asking a stupid question? Because where does the question come from? It comes out of your mouth. But before that, it comes from your head. So if you're formulating a stupid question, that means you're having stupid thoughts. You're literally and unconsciously defining yourself as stupid. And you're solidifying it by the sole fact that you will not overcome that and ask a question. You feel what I'm saying? Like I said, again, the most successful students that I have are the ones who actually ask the questions in the course. The motherfuckers who would never ask me a question think I'm just gonna be an asshole and be like, yo, it's so easy, you should be able to. No, ask the fucking question. That's what I'm there for. I literally have within the setup 24/7 tutoring and consultation. So like you type the question, now it's strict. You type the question within the course. Like I actually have a setup for you to type it in because everybody needs to see these questions. You feel me? You ask the question, I respond within 24 hours. Motherfuckers don't be want to ask the questions. I can't get wrong. I can't. That means you don't want to learn. You don't want to accept the fact that you don't know. And a lot of times we equate the fact that we don't know with the fact that we're stupid. Because we're supposed to know. We're supposed to have an answer because we didn't get it right the first time. This entire entangled web is fucking phenomenal. It's phenomenal because it's what is hindering us from learning. Motherfuckers won't learn simply because they won't spend time with shit. Motherfuckers asking me shit like, yo, you still doing this? Yep. And I got shit locked into my head so much that I don't have to revisit it anymore because of the way in which I understood it. You feel me? Whether it be entrepreneurship, whether it be life as a whole, anything you learn new, know that you're not just gonna spend one time with it. You're not. You're not. You feel me? One of my bros, you feel me? My bro Pat, you feel me? Man, bro, like Pat, one of the most phenomenal motherfuckers I ever met in my life. Hands down. Like his shit is like, yo, it's crazy because like the way in which he processes information is like, dog, how? How? But we do the same thing. It's just because we dive into different areas, the realms that we want to dive in the way we want to. We dive into them differently, but we run that shit when we run it, right? So he would tell me, yo, bro, I went back and read Soulful 1, or you know what I'm saying, I read Soulful 2, Soulful 3. It's like, yo, I keep going back because new thing. That's the learning phase. Because now things are unlocked. Like, and like I told him, I was like, I purposely wrote the books the way that I did. There's things in Soulful 3 that there's things in Soulful 1 that you won't understand until you read Soulful 3. But there's things in Soulful 3 that you're gonna have to go back to Soulful 1 to get. You see what I'm saying? It's like, damn, oh shit, that's what it was. You've learned it now, broken the barrier, right? So that's the ongoing thing. That's the ongoing thing with this reality. When you learn, you have to continually revisit something because now you got to get the other eyes behind it. But you have to be willing to test the other side. That's what fucks people up because there's a fine line between reaffirming belief and obtaining knowledge. And that fine line is whether you're willing to face the antithesis of something, right? If you're not willing to face the opposite of something, you will not learn to full capacity. I promise you. I promise you. Tying it in now, to mastering the market. This is pretty much an advertising episode. It's EntrepreNEGUS. What you think supposed to happen? You feel me? But tying it into mastering the market, right? When people ask me why do I trade Forex, because it teaches defense. Forex is the only market that teaches you how to play equally well off the other side. Everybody, buy on the dips. Everything is buy when it comes to stocks and crypto. Forex is trading. You can be a buyer or you can be a seller. You got to know what the fuck the market is telling you it wants to do. Forex is the only one that teaches you both those points. So I use that to leverage the antithesis. Now I know what the fuck I be talking about. So much so that I got to the level of understanding where I can eyeball the shit. Give me a time frame. I know what's gonna work, what's not gonna work, how it's gonna move, and we got it. We rocking. We rocking like a motherfucker. The reason why a lot of that shit fails for people is because they won't go through the antithesis. Going through the antithesis is also studying the loss. Studying the loss is going into saying, okay, I lost this particular point. You feel me? If you've read So Frail 3, you know exactly how I do this. The Tree of Life shows you exactly how I go through this entire process of learning. You feel me? The 22 paths of the Tree of Life are used to help you understand yourself, but it also used to understand the world. Every new thing that I approach it I put it in the Tree of Life and see where I stand with it. You feel me? I always start off as the fool at Kether on the full path or whatever the case may be, but then I go into the next phases. If you've read this So Far Out There, you know what it is. By the time I get from Kether back down to Malkuth, a kick is just a kick. Y'all know that reference. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But I do this with everything in life. I go through all the phases of the different levels of the mind, uncovering the different pieces with the information that I learned. Now, because I've been doing it for so long and I'm so good at it, I do it fast. Like people like, yo, you learn fast. I just went through the Tree of Life with this information that fast. I studied this point, studied the opposite, dive deep into it with different resource materials and blah, blah, blah. Here's a thought. It's like, yo, you learn that fast? Yeah, at this point, I learned that fast because of how, but you got to do it with yourself first. You feel me? You got to do it with yourself first. Most motherfuckers don't know who they are because they don't spend time learning themselves. If you're not willing to spend time to learn yourself, you're not going to be successful in what you do, right? I just finished the book and it was talking about boredom, right? Boredom is the catalyst to success, and a lot of people don't know it. What you do when you're bored determines how successful you're going to be. When I'm bored, I learn. That's it. When I'm bored, I learn. I don't look at bored and get defeated and think I have to go be entertained. I entertain myself. So learning is the first thing of learning is to be able to learn yourself. Learn how you learn. You feel me? Learn how you learn. Motherfuckers out here trying to learn from motherfuckers like, you feel me? I got a student that was in my one-on-one. You know what I'm saying? She was like, I want to go ahead and knock it out because I'm a visual learner. Like, feel me? I'm a visual learner and I learn fast. So I was like, okay, cool. She knew her learning style. She knew exactly how she got down. And we knocked out, like, she mastered the market in 2 weeks. Of course, you'd feel me, there were still other experiences that she had. But when I gave her such the core fundamentals, the antithesis of everything, whenever she would mess up, she would text me and laugh at the shit. And she'd be like, bro, I knew I wasn't supposed to be in that motherfucker, but I held it for too long because I just wanted to be greedy because I thought I was going to make more. But then she actually started, when I realized how great she's going to be as a person, as a trader, as an investor, was when she told me, you know what? I have been making a lot of wins, so I forced the loss. So I knew what she was doing because I've done it before, but I was like, what do you mean you forced the loss? She said, I wanted to feel it. Like I wanted to feel what it was like to go against me and watch it go against me. She like see the different setups and see what part of the market it was in. She said, I knew it was in this part of the market. I knew it was this. I knew it was going, but I wanted to feel what it was like. I said, she's going to be successful as fuck because she knows what it's like to lose. A lot of motherfuckers are getting this shit. They only want to win. They don't want to lose. Losing is where you're going to get the best at because that's what's going to help you keep your money. You feel me? That's what's going to help you keep your money. But you still got to know how to grow it. So you got to know both sides. You got to know all of it. But the point of all of that and the point of all of this episode is you have to sit with some shit to learn it. You got to know what it is that you need to learn. You got to know how you learn and go through the learning phase. And the learning phase is about overcoming these 2 points. One, believing that you have to learn the shit the first fucking time. You feel me? I think that's the most important piece. Stop trying to think you have to learn it the first fucking time. You feel me? I gotta be good. Most people tell me, yo, I was good at everything that I tried for the first time. You're gonna run into shit that you're not. You know what I'm saying? That just means you gotta sit with it. You feel me? And then two, don't try to give the answer that you think a motherfucker wants to hear. Give the answer that's right. Give the answer that's right. You feel me? Who you're learning from, they have to be able to understand, like, you got to be able to answer shit. Like, everything isn't one dimensional when you're learning, because it's how it's relative to you. There's a law of relativity and tied into that shit and everything, like 12 laws of the universe. Go listen to that episode. But all of this shit is like how well you're going to learn, because you know that you got to sit with something long enough. And I always tie it back to children. You feel me? When babies learned how to walk, do you know how long it was in their mind to take those steps? They started off crawling. It didn't, the final result is walking, but for the baby, it was, I gotta move, nigga. I'm not about to be stuck here. The fuck? I gotta learn how to move. What are the mechanics first, right? These motherfuckers is standing up walking. So first, let me see. Okay, let me move. Oh shit, my arms and my knees are okay. I could scoot across the floor. Okay, I'm crawling, but I'm getting mobile. But this ain't fast enough. So I'm a crawl run. Y'all know when the baby motherfucking haul ass on them, when they fucking crawling, but they moving fast as fuck. That shit is amazing. Like, they be fast as shit. I know I can move faster now. But they learn. When they finally learn to start walking, they stand up, they got to balance first. They're like, oh, so this is what y'all niggas be doing. Okay, then they fall. The moment they fall, they don't say, I'll never walk because I fail. They have not conceptualized falling. They literally have not just conceptualized that I fail. Some of them still be having big ass smiles on their face, like, I think I got it, I think I got it. Then they drop down. Because everybody's still encouraging them. When the motherfuckers learning how to talk, same shit. They never give up and say, I just can't understand what you're saying, so I'm not gonna talk. No. They're gonna keep listening and figuring out and mirroring what you're saying until you can understand them. Till they get that shock moment, it's like, mama. They said mommy. No, I just got your fucking attention. Get excited you want to. I'm fucking hungry. You're missing the whole point. Yeah, laugh it up. I said my first words, but I'm trying to get your attention, and now I know how to do it. Daddy, daddy. I know how to get daddy attention now too. Got you. I learned. I learned that this is the response. If I do this, I get your attention now. I don't have to cry anymore. Not as much. But now when I can't use my words, I gotta cry, because like, oh, I remember there was a time when I cried and you gave me that attention. You feel what I'm saying? Plays itself out. But a baby never defeats themselves and say, I can't learn. A baby, a motherfucker ain't gonna say, I learned to walk fast. And I think sometimes because we can't understand the history behind it, we hear, oh, you were walking before a certain time, but it was never fast. You never walked the first time you took your step. You were just walking before a particular time, but you still put in that time to experience what it was to walk, to learn how to fucking walk. You don't still walk the same way you do when you was a baby. You feel me? Some, like, when babies first learn how to walk, they just pick their legs up and put them down. They don't bend at the ankles much. They don't know the mechanics of it yet. That comes with fine tuning shit. You feel what I'm saying? That comes with learning and constantly experiencing and staying involved in something and getting new levels of shit on the low, because you're constantly experiencing it. Break this mentality that you got to learn the first time. The education system fucked us up. I get it. But you're not going to learn anything the first time. You're going to learn in the manner in which you submerge yourself with it to constantly go over it. And I don't mean just, okay, I'm going to take the notes and reread the notes every time. No, fuck the notes. If you take the notes, whatever, dive into the notes. Dive into the note. Don't try to memorize the note for the test. Dive into the note, because you're going to remember the note when you dive into it deeper. As the phrase goes, if you shoot for the moon, if you miss, you land amongst the stars, or whatever the case may be. You're amongst the stars still. So you feel me? Whenever you got the note and you take those notes down, and you dive into that note. Dive into that note. Don't just stay at the yo, we was king. Like, for example, I'll say that and I end this here. When they say, it's black people, yo, we came from kings and queens and shit. Never forget your regality or whatever the case may be. What were the kings and queens doing when they were kings and queens? See, we're trying to have our own mentality of what we've learned right now, but we didn't dive. We took the note that they were kings and queens, but we didn't dive into what made them kings and queens. Their spiritual systems, their religious practices, their self-images, all of that shit was what made them regal. Do you have that now? Have you learned how to tap in the way they tapped in? Mm-mm, you haven't. But you don't have to because you're around motherfuckers who haven't learned it either. So you don't have to tap in and dive deeper into the notes to actually say, okay, look at, for example, let's start off with Egypt, right? Motherfuckers be like, we came from Egypt or whatever. But then when you go back to Egypt, dive into notes, you're like, oh, there was Kemet. Okay, so it was actually called Kemet. Dive deeper into Kemet. Oh shit, Kemet was Kemet was the fall. Kemet was the one where we lost power. And that was the strongest one. So what was before that? Kush, Nubia, Ethiopia. Whoa, Ethiopia wasn't always spelled with the E, it was spelled with the AE because it was the people of the ethers. Whoa, what are the ethers? You feel what I'm saying? This is how the rabbit hole shit works. This is how learning works. This is how learning is supposed to work when you dive into it. But when you stay on the surface, we came from Egypt, we was kings and queens. What does that mean? Nigga, we was kings and queens. The fuck? That's what it means. Okay, so how was we kings and queens? Because we had crowns, motherfucker. We built pyramids. How do we build pyramids? Bitch, we built them. The fuck? That's what a lot of people are. That's the mentality a lot of people are with what they learn. Because it's just belief. You feel me? It's not actually understanding why the fuck something works. And our education system makes us this way. So we have to get to a point where whatever it is, entrepreneurship, especially entrepreneurship, lock in and learn what you need to learn. Learn what you need to learn. Don't just say, okay, this is what I need to know, and this is what I'm gonna stay here. Know what you need to know, learn some, and when you know what you need to know, that lexicon is there. You'll be able to see somebody who knows more than you. Because you know now the vernacular as to what it's going to take in that realm to speak a certain way. You feel me? You got to go into the ocean and leave that pond, big fish. You feel me? You always got to be able in a space where you're always continuing to learn, and push yourself and challenge yourself and take yourself to that next level by submerging yourself in shit and knowing that you cannot, will not, and never will get it right the first time. But with enough time, you will get it. And don't forget to check out Cafe Clothing, formerly Just Scenes merch. Get all of your intricate designs crafted specifically for the melanated being to develop a positive imagery within self and to have a little bit of fun in the process. From the peace, love, knowledge, and freedom to the dead horses and water designs, all of the styles are crafted for the imagery to make you feel as you're supposed to feel. Because as I always say, the best way to fit in is to stand out. And what better way to stand out than with your exclusive styles from Cafe Clothing. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and end it there. This episode was necessary because, like I said, I got a lot of new students into my master in the market class, and it's a lot of the same thing. Everybody's telling me I just don't. It's hard because it's not hard. You have programmed your mind to believe that something is hard if you don't get it the first time. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. I know this is going to be extreme, so I hope the kids ain't listening right now. You have time to get the kids off of the volume right now while I'm talking before I say my point, because the kids don't necessarily need to hear this point, but it is a relevant point to what we're talking about. Brothers, you feel me? When it comes to fucking, you didn't fuck right the first time. Women too, but it's mainly us. And I'm saying mainly us because we had this perception that just because we got a dick, and once we put the dick in, that we in the right space. But you got to learn what it is to have sex. You dig what I'm saying? Beginner's luck, you know what I'm saying? You run up in it and it's like, bam, this is what it is. Your beginner's luck is going to dictate your entire sexual experience unless you understand it. If you had a bad experience off rip, You're gonna assume sex is just a bad thing. If you had a good experience off rip, you're gonna think sex is always good, and you're gonna, you know what I mean? You're not gonna be able to adjust according to what you learn because you don't learn anything. You feel me? Our reality is predicated off that because we don't spend enough time with shit. We spend enough time with sex to get fluid with it. You feel me? To get fluid with it. Like it is, you feel me? You feel me? Sex is what it is, but it comes with the time that we spend putting it in. You feel me? That's why it be blowing my motherfucking mind when dudes be like, yo, I can't have a woman with bodies, but I want a woman to put it on me. She can't, nigga. She can't. She can't. Like it don't work, bro. It don't work. She hasn't had enough sexual experiences to be confident enough to be at the level that you wanted to be at. But you got to be okay with that. You feel what I'm saying? If I know I've gone through enough sexual experiences that it's like I can bring that out of you if I really want it that much. Slowly but surely, it's about teaching you, and you know what I'm saying. You learn, okay, look, try this, do this, do this, do this, open up, be free. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit don't always come, pun intended. But when we look at learning, I use that extreme to tie it back in. When we look at learning, we have to submerge ourselves with this shit. We have to continually learn. You have to continually be involved. You will not get it the first time. You just won't. It's just not possible. Life wasn't designed to be like that. Experience comes from repetition. Pete, if you were, this is where it gets real fucked up. This is about to get dark. A lot of motherfuckers gonna be mad after this part, right? You went to college, you went to school, you got your degree and shit. And when you went to go apply for a job, they told you you need experience. You need experience. The degree showed you learned it right the first time, right? But experience show you really don't know what the fuck is going on. So you need at least 3 years of experience. You need to have at least 3 years of constantly going through the shit that you got right the first time in your degree. Physically, not just from a book perspective. You need to actually experience the shit. Mindful, right? Shit crazy. Shit crazy as fuck how it plays out. Feel me? Now that's why school is so fucked up because they trained you this entire time to get it right the first time, only to apply for a job that's going to require you to have sat with it more than one time. This shit's a science, bro. And now they got you in debt because now you can't find a job because you were never able to get experience. And now you have to go to get whatever job you can and pay your bills and shit. So you're never really going to get the experience in your field the way they wanted you to, unless you take it hit on the chin for free and do an internship. And even that's going to, slow you down a little bit. But the internship, the purpose of the internship is to go deeper into what you learn and repeat that shit over and over again. Yeah, we'll pay you for the shit, but are you willing to do it when there's no compensation? When it's just the sole fact that you have to learn this? Most motherfuckers won't do a free internship. Most motherfuckers won't sit at the feet of a motherfucker just for nothing. Has to be a reason, has to be an incentive there. But the system is designed that way. So now when you graduate from school, that's why they say at this point it's they tell you it's not what you know, it's who you know. We don't give a fuck if you got this shit right the first fucking time. We're gonna hire who we want to hire. Because there's trade secrets, there's company shit that's tied into that. So this is why it's easier to get into somewhere when you know the motherfucker who's opening it up. Because they're gonna tell you all of the things I need. And they're gonna make sure you are in that situation. For example, with time, and if I find anybody that wants to do it, I eventually want to extend jobs and possibilities and opportunities to my master in the market students. Because as it's growing, I'm not about to keep answering all these motherfucking questions from people. But now I can put motherfuckers on paper. I can trust them because you learn the material from me. You feel me? You learn the material from me. I know that you put in the work. You feel what I'm saying? I've seen your successes. So when they ask a question, I don't have to worry about you saying, yo, is this the right answer? No, you know it's the right answer because you've experienced it yourself. Oh nah, this ain't that's a villain pocket. That ain't an upper hand pocket. Like you've seen the market turn about. You able to see where the change is at. You feel me? And give that exact answer. I want to ultimately get to that point. But I gotta also consider now that everybody's not gonna be willing to go through the part to learn it right the first time. Feel me? Motherfuckers think I just popped up with a master in the market course. Nigga, no. I sat with this shit for 7 years. Like I'm in year 7 where I'm still sitting with it. I'm still getting better. I'm still learning new shit. Still getting excited with the new shit that I'm learning. Like, all that's gonna do is make my price go up, but I'm still getting excited with the new shit that I'm learning. You feel me? Because I'm still sitting with the shit. I'm still willing to sit with the shit. This is not just some shit that I just, oh, let me just learn it quick and now I got it. No, you can't just get it because you got to go to the markets and be able to see what's going on at all times on a minute level. You feel me? Everything you do in life that requires you to learn, if you feel like it has significance in your life, you make sure you learn that shit thoroughly. Don't try to memorize it. Learn it thoroughly. Go into the depths of what it is and get through the learning phase correctly. The learning phase is designed that way. You have the beginner's luck, the learning phase, and the veteran's experience. Everybody wants veteran's experience, but don't want to go through the learning phase. So at that point, the most you want to have is beginner's luck. You feel me? Motherfucker playing blackjack knows that I can get 21. I got to get 21. Motherfucker that knows how to count cards says, I know when I'm going to get 21. So I can't go to the casino all the time and play because I can bang the game, but this motherfucker don't know how to count cards and shit. Like when I was in undergrad, I learned this. I'm really wrapping up here. When I was in undergrad, I learned how to count cards. I didn't do the blackjack shit, but I learned how to count cards. So whenever we would play spades, I would know what cards are out. Like no bullshit. When me and my partner bid or whatever, I can always see what other cards are out in the game, and I can literally like our bids were so on point. Like we rarely was off. We rarely sandbag. We set a lot of motherfuckers, but because I remember like that year, me and my partner, we got undisputed space champions of the campus and shit. Like we were whooping everybody. We were whooping them so bad that motherfuckers had to come to our dorm to play us. It's like, yo, I heard y'all whoop it. Yep, come on. We bust them down. We beat a team so motherfucking bad that the motherfuckers argue. Because you're like, bro, if you would have just played your clubs, we would have won. He said, nigga, it didn't matter. He said, he was cutting clubs. She was cutting hearts. It won't gonna work. He was like, no, but if you played your clubs, I could have got my hearts in. It didn't matter because they were both cutting 2 suits a piece. It's not going to work. But you feel me? Because he thought he was a spades. I'm like, yo, it's different, bro. I knew how to count. So when my partner bid, I was like, okay, they're not getting those books. Or when I said, oh, wait, we might need to drop down because they're going to get that. They're going to get that. I was able to count it. You feel me? Able to count it. But that's a different game. That wasn't me just playing spades and knowing that, okay, this is what's going to win. I understand the game of spades. But I understand card placement. I understand synchronicities. I understand other things too. That, divinations and all that other shit. But that's different. You feel me? But the point of that is learning. Learn. Submerge yourself in the shit. And know that you cannot, will not, and shall not ever get something right the first time. Ever. Take your time with some shit. If you don't get it right the first time, say, okay, I didn't get it right this time, but I have to get it. Fuck the time. Just say, I have to get this right. I don't have to get this right now. I have to get this right. And trust me, you'll see bigger growth over the time period. You'll see better growth. You'll see more quality development over the time because you're now putting yourself in a position that allows you to learn successfully and retain the information. You feel me? How many A's did you get in undergrad? How many A's did you get in high school? How many A's did you get in middle school? And you don't remember none of the motherfucking material from that time frame. Your transcript is good. Your transcript is good. But is the knowledge base still there? You feel me? Yeah, you graduated with honors, but you still retain the information that you learned when you had the honors that you graduated with. Could you get an A again in chemistry class? Could you get an A again in behavioral sciences? That class, the 320 level class, whatever. You feel me? Conversely, yeah, you got a D the first time, but have you sat with it enough to where you're going to get an A every other time? I'm going to end with this for real. When I was in high school, I think my 10th grade year, because we had health team relations. Yeah, that was a 10th grade class because Ally 1 is 11, Ally 2 is 12. So yeah, it was in health team relations, medical career path and shit. And I had a class with one of the guys and shit. He had failed biology. He was repeating biology or whatever. He said, He said, even though I don't show up, even though I don't pay attention, he said, I know the material better than all y'all because I had the class before. He's like, I sat through all of this. I know it already. I'm just not passing the test. And motherfuckers was looking like, then you don't know it. You don't know. He's like, no, I do know it. I just didn't pass the test. That put into perspective all of this. He's like, he didn't get it right the first time, but it had time to sit. He learned that material. It registered, processed, bam, bam. He got it. Most of the time, when people fail in a regular semester and they take summer school, they could pass it in a shorter amount of time. Why? Because you already knew the material. You learned it. And now you re-experiencing it to go deeper into it and try it again. And it's so much easier because it's like, I've already been exposed to it. Motherfuckers literally, most motherfuckers fail solely because they would not do this shit again. You didn't even fail for real. You quit. That's different. But that's based off of the mentality that you have to get it right the first time. So I'm going to go ahead and end it there. Go kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables. And let your child be the child that you watch your child learn in real time. Fuck the, you know what I'm saying? The books that they fuck the hooked on phonics and shit that you're trying to get them to read. Watch how they learn the world in real time. Watch how they spend time. Watch how they turn their head and look at shit that confuses them. Watch how they step back and shit. Watch how they approach it. Watch how much time they spend with the shit before they ever put it down and say, I don't want to do this anymore. When children walk away from some shit, it's because they mastered it low key. A lot of people don't really pay attention to that shit. When a child is done with some shit, they're done with it because they've already dived into all of the levels of what that learning experience was going to give it. They've had the confusion. Now they have the clarity. And now they make the choice whether they want to continue to fuck with it or not. This is why babies ask why all the time. They need the answer. They show you how they learn. We just don't pay attention to, oh, you didn't get it right the first time. Nobody gets it right the first time. Your babies are the first proof that happens to. So as your children are developing and they're growing, don't be, oh, you just slow. My baby might be slow because blah, blah, blah. And this, like, no, don't do no shit like that. Let your baby take the time to learn it. Some people are catalyzed differently, and that's fine. But they need the time to be able to learn it. You dig what I'm saying? And actually learn it and experience it and be able to play with it and have the fun with it to where it's like, I got this now. I have an experience with this shit that I don't have to, use on a different basis. You feel me? Tap in with that and truly understand that within your babies and make sure they are learning too. And then, learn with them. You want to get your practice right, get around some kids that are developing themselves, some younger babies and shit, and watch their learning process and just pick it up with them. We get our attention, it runs out too much because we can't focus long enough because we're not getting it. We don't get something. You ever notice how deeply enthralled into something that you are, that you get, that you forget time exists? You dig what I'm saying? But when you put the limitations on time that I have to get this at this particular time, you create the realm of time, which now removes yourself from being able to learn it successfully. Babies don't have that, so don't keep that on them. Make sure they learn the process of learning and thoroughly engulf themselves in the shit till they get it. And they're going to show you that this is how you really learn. You feel me? Of course, learning their intelligence and how they learn and other things like that it makes it so much easier. But tap in. So I'm gonna leave it with that. Go kiss your babies, make sure they eat their vegetables, and I'm gonna see y'all all on the next one. Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. I'm out.